Welcome to Answers in Jubilees, produced by The God Culture. We are on episode 44 of 52 now, almost bringing this to a close, and the finale is going to be a huge wow, as we will discuss end times prophecy in Jubilees, and it is awesome. Yes, Moses knew way back then. Many of us know the story where Rebekah favored Jacob over Esau, but Isaac favored Esau because he was a man's man, hunting, and he loved the venison Esau would bring. No problem with that. You can't blame Isaac for that, but we covered before. Yahuwah already prophesied to Rebekah, the future, that Esau would serve Jacob, period. That kind of settles it. It's hilarious, though, that from many pulpits, they try to make Jacob a mama's boy. Really? No, he was Yahuwah's boy, and there wasn't anything feminine about him. In fact, you're going to find in this video, he was also Abraham's boy. Did you know when he met his future wife at the well, in fact? This, weakling moved an entire well stone, usually needing several men, all by himself. This is no lightweight. He also was no thief. He was not a deceiver, generally, either, which would be a major character flaw that he did not possess. And many try to paint him as if that was a character flaw in Jacob. No, it wasn't. That is a lie. They don't know the story, and they fill in details, not in Genesis, but these are there in Jubilees, also written as Torah by Moses. Moses did write about this. These must be read together for understanding, and without Jubilees, one will not understand many parts of Genesis. Now, that's why the temple priests kept them together in their temple library, even in the same scroll jar, found together, basically in their place of exile, Qumran. We need this detail to not only understand why Rebekah favored him, which is in Genesis, but ignored, as is typical in what is called church doctrine, or the doctrines of men too often, especially those of the Pharisees, the modern rabbis. What did he think of Jacob and Esau? Which one did he prefer? Did he have a preference? Better yet, did you know Abraham already passed the blessing to his preference? See, that's not in Genesis, but it is in Jubilees, and it is in Torah. Yes, Isaac was an old blind dude, there's no doubting that. His senses, his perception, not what it once was, indeed. Now, that again doesn't make him an evil man either. This is not, however, a story of deception. It is a story of correction to the intent, will, and purpose of Yahuwah from his own mouth, from Abraham, and executed largely by Rebekah, not even necessarily Jacob, who followed her will in this. She's the one that heard the prophecy from Yahuwah, and she knew what was supposed to happen despite Isaac's perception. She also well knew what Abraham wanted. Now let's test this. Open your Book of Jubilees to chapter 22, starting in verse 10. For Abraham's last words to and blessings of Jacob. Let's start there. Verse 10. And he, Abraham, called Jacob and said, My son Jacob, may the Elohim of all bless thee and strengthen thee to do righteousness, and his will before him. And may he choose thee and thy seed, that ye may become a people for his inheritance, according to his will always. Not Isaac's will, by the way, nor even Abraham's, or even Rebekah's. No, Yahuwah's will. That's what this is all about. And do thou, my son Jacob, draw near and kiss me. And he drew near and kissed him, and he said, Blessed be my son Jacob and all the sons of Elohim Most High unto all the ages. May Elohim give unto him, unto thee, a seed of righteousness, and some of thy sons may he sanctify in the midst of the whole earth. May nations serve thee, and all the nations bow themselves before thy seed. Now that only happens in Messiah. And this is really messianic prophecy. That's what this is really about. Abraham knew this. Be strong in the presence of men and exercise authority over all the seed of Seth. Now that's interesting. How about that? All the seed of men. Again, Messiah. That's who will truly exercise that. Now that's a messianic prophecy indeed. Then thy ways and the ways of thy sons will be justified, so that they shall become a holy nation, a royal priesthood indeed. May the Most High Elohim give thee all the blessings wherewith he hath blessed me. How about that? No mention of Esau there. And wherewith he blessed Noah and Adam. Yes, without Torah. Abraham had the full story because it is not new with Moses. And that thinking that somehow tablets that predate the Bible somehow become its origin in plagiarism, when the angel in heaven kept this record as it unfolded, and nothing precedes that. That is illiterate. No, the Sumerian tablets and the Epic of Gilgamesh, because they happen to be on a rock, do not suddenly become older than this well-established record. Scripture was written and copied over since Enoch. He lived before the flood, and he wrote before the flood on earth, and he got it, as did Moses, from the heavenly tablets. There is no debate on that, and the record was the first. Never plagiarism. That is stupid. Abraham, in fact, had writings, he said, of Noah and Enoch, and we covered he had the same law, which is the same as Moses, and the same as Messiah's. May they rest on the sacred head of thy seed from generation to generation forever. Now that's Messiah. That's a prophecy of Messiah, really. And may he cleanse thee from all unrighteousness and impurity, that thou mayest be forgiven all thy transgressions. Yes, there is forgiveness in the Old Testament, and it's there many times, by the way. That's not new in the New Testament, nor is salvation. Abraham was saved, is saved, and will be saved. And thy sins of ignorance. And may he strengthen thee and bless thee. And mayest thou inherit the whole earth. Again, that will be realized for Jacob's bloodline under Yahusha only. 15. And may he renew his covenant with thee. See, this is what we do with covenant. We renew it, actually every year, in fact, on Shavuot Pentecost, Messiah's birthday, the day of covenant renewal. Same day the Holy Spirit came as well. That thou mayest be to him a nation for his inheritance for all the ages. Again, Messiah, all the ages. And that he may be to thee and to thy seed, Messiah, a Elohim in truth and righteousness throughout all the days of the earth. Again, this is talking about Israel, but no doubt injecting Messiah throughout. That's the point of all of this. This is Messiah's bloodline. This is the bloodline by which Yahuwah will choose to bring his son into flesh in the world. And do thou, my son Jacob, remember my words and observe the commandments of Abraham. Now, we covered those in, I think, 2 videos prior. Thy father, separate thyself from the nations, and eat not with them. Now, why? Be antisocial? Is this about social distancing? No. Because you may be eating food sacrificed to idols. When do they get together? When do they eat in celebration? They do that on holidays. Same as when they sacrifice. Pagan holidays are never his way. That is eating food sacrificed to idols. Stay away from them. Separate from the world. That's what this is saying, and that's in the New Testament too, And do not according to their works, and become not their associate. Those especially megachurch pastors, like, well, let's say Joel Osteen, whom the world just loves, don't even represent the Bible. It right away. When the world or the occultist Oprah loves them, there's a problem. Oprah has been clear. She is offended by Yahuwah. Well, if you aren't defending her, well, then you're not representing him. There you go. For their works are unclean, and all their ways, all are a pollution, and an abomination, and uncleanness. Now get this. Here is a specific rebuke of a Catholic holiday. These have ancient roots, and not good ones. No Catholic holiday does, really. They offer their sacrifices to the dead, and they worship evil spirits, and they eat over the graves. Ooh, ouch. And all their works are vanity and nothingness. That's All Saints' Day, All Souls' Day, a disgusting odor in the nostrils of Yahuwah. He hates them. He hates Christ's Mass, formerly Saturnalia, now rebranded as Christmas. That's not his birthday, but the opposite time of year. He was born in June on Shavuot, not December. But the birth you are celebrating, if you celebrate that, well, that's the birthday of his enemy. He doesn't accept that. He rejects it. Easter or Eastar is a fertility ritual named for the moon goddess, and it has her rituals of multiplication. That's why the bunnies and the eggs. The harlot of Babylon, that's in church today. Yahuwah set forth 7 feasts, and they are incredible. In fact, Tabernacles is far more fun than Christmas. Yet we settle for inferior replacements of idol worship. The Christmas tree, in fact, rebuked. Perfect example in Jeremiah chapter 10. Read it. Where it's an outright rebuke of such practice, it's not new. It really goes back to Nimrod in that case. These are filthy to Yahusha. They have no heart to understand. Now, this is why you say this to a Catholic and they don't get it, usually. They defend it vigorously, and even Christians. Neither know the Bible nor have a heart of understanding. But see, you do. You're here and you're learning, for one. But test everything. And their eyes do not see what their works are, and how they err in saying to a piece of wood, "Thou art my God." Sounds pretty stupid, yet this is what they are doing. Oh, Mama Mary, do this for me. I pray to you, you pray for me, blah, 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 blah. Mary is not your mama, and she is dead. She is not your God. She's not your goddess. And to a stone, "Thou art my God, and thou art my deliverer." And they have no heart. And as for thee, my son Jacob, may the Most High Elohim help thee, and the Elohim of heaven bless thee, and remove thee from their uncleanness, and from all their error. These pagan holidays are error, folks. That's how the Bible defines them, even in Torah. Be thou ware, my son Jacob, of taking a wife from any seed of the daughters of Canaan. Why? Was Abe prejudiced? No. For all his seed is to be rooted out of the earth. Now here's why. For owing to the transgression of Ham, Canaan erred. He stole the land of Israel from Shem, and he worshipped other gods. He stole it from Abraham's ancestor, Arphaxad specifically. All his seed will be destroyed from all off the earth, and all the residue thereof, all the residual, all of them, and none springing from him will be saved on the day of judgment. Wow. But wait a minute. Abraham even knew of the day of judgment? We're going to get there. Yes, he did. Folks, much of this prophecy is in Enoch especially, and he read and memorized that. Remember, we'll get there. And as for all the worshippers of idols and the profane, there will be no hope for them in the land of the living. No one can worship an idol and call themselves saved, by the way. Messiah said, man cannot serve two masters, Elohim and Mammon, a false god statue, essentially. In fact, the one called the child Jesus today, Santo Niño, which is actually Plautos, the Greek god of wealth, or Mammon in Hebrew in the Bible. One cannot include that in their worship and call themselves saved. Got it? Hope so. And there will be no remembrance of them on the earth. Wow. For they will descend into Sheol, and into the place of condemnation will they go, into hell. As the children of Sodom were taken away from the earth, so will all those who worship idols be taken away. See, they will be destroyed with eternal fire in the same way as Sodom. We covered that in this series. Check it out. 23. Fear not, my son Jacob, and be not dismayed, O son of Abraham. May the Most High Elohim preserve thee from destruction, and from all the paths of error may he deliver thee. His path is narrow. His path to error, or not his, but this path to error is wide indeed. We must choose for ourselves which path we will take. No man can take both. You can't do that. You can't split. You can't sit on the fence. You can't be lukewarm. He spews you out of his mouth anyway if you try. We choose. This house have I built for myself, that I might put my name upon it in the earth. Now that's Abraham. He's not talking about a building here, but the house of Abraham, his lineage. It is given to thee and to thy seed forever. See, Abraham's choosing Jacob because Yahuwah chose Jacob. And it will be named the house of Abraham. It is given to thee and to thy seed forever. Okay? This is Abraham blessing Jacob, turning over the future to him, the birthright, really. Get the significance here. Esau is not there and not chosen by Yahuwah, nor Abraham, who followed Yahuwah, nor Rebekah, who also followed Yahuwah. This is not a story of deception. That's not what it's about. For thou wilt build my house and establish my name before Elohim forever. Again, not a building, a household, a lineage. Thy seed and thy name will stand throughout all generations of the earth. And he ceased commanding him and blessing him. So the blessing of the birthright really is already given here by Abraham to Jacob, even before Isaac did so. Now the final authority will lie with Isaac, but Isaac was inclined to bless the wrong son. Yahuwah saw to it that did not happen. This is not about a story of deception. It's not what this is about. Now this is precious. Can you picture this? Let's read. Verse 26. And the two lay together on one bed, and Jacob slept in the bosom of Abraham, his father's father, and he kissed him 7 Sheba times. And his affection and his heart rejoiced over him, indeed. And he blessed him with all his heart and said, The Most High Yahuwah, the Elohim of all, and Creator of all, whom brought me forth from Ur of the Chaldees, that he might give me this land to inherit it forever, and that I might establish a holy seed. Blessed be the Most High forever. Wow. Now hear this, folks. This blessing is to all of Jacob's descendants who will truly follow Yahuwah in covenant, which will and even does in the Old Testament include his son Yahusha, indeed. And that's what this is all about. That's what the Bible is all about. That's what the gospel is all about. It's about him. The whole entire Old Testament is about him. That's where it leads. You even see that salvation message here in Abraham's words many times. Messiah is there. All of these blessings as well as curses, though, you will find were also available to Gentiles in the Old Testament, who also form covenant with Yahuwah, even in the Exodus, many times over. We cover this in Rest, the Case for Sabbath, among other places. Check it out. We have a whole chapter on that. Verse 28, and he blessed Jacob and said, my son, over whom with all my heart and my affection I rejoice, may thy grace and thy mercy be lifted up upon him and upon his seed alway. And do not forsake him, nor set him at nothing, from henceforth unto the days of eternity. And may thine eyes be opened upon him and upon his seed, that thou mayest preserve him and bless him, and mayest sanctify him as a nation for thine inheritance. Wow. And see, that's what's so special about Israel. Israel became a nation, the first nation in covenant with him. That is huge. And that sets them apart. And many times you see that. Some try to put them on a pedestal as a result. That's not what this is about. The importance was the fact that the entire nation entered covenant with Yahuwah. And that's the first that had ever happened, and the only really. Now, did you know we are Yahuwah's and Yahusha's inheritance, though? Whoa. Jubilees says so several times, by the way. And bless him with all thy blessings from henceforth unto all the days of eternity, and renew thy covenant. There you go again, renew the covenant. That's important, and we do that every year. Yes, Jacob was under a new covenant, but it was the same as the old covenant of Abraham. Same principle for us today. It didn't change with Messiah either. Covenant is covenant. And thy grace with him and with his seed according to all thy good pleasure unto all the generations of the earth. Now turn over to chapter 23. We're just going to go through verses 1 and 2 here because this is so neat. And this is when and how Abraham died. Again, you don't find this in Genesis. The blessing of his grandson Jacob. Wow. Holding him in his bosom. This is precious. And he placed 2 fingers of Jacob on his eyes. And he blessed the Elohim of Elohim. And he covered his face and stretched out his feet and slept the sleep of eternity, and was gathered to his fathers. And notwithstanding all this, Jacob was lying in his bosom, and knew not that Abraham, his father's father, was dead. That is precious indeed. Better than any Hollywood movie. What a way to go out for Abraham. Let's go back to Genesis 25:23. We covered this last time. Where did Abraham get this? He just liked Jacob better? No, that wasn't even his decision when it came down to it. This is far more profound. Remember, we are talking about the only people on earth in history to form covenant with Yahuwah as a nation. That would happen because his birthright passed to Jacob and not Esau. They will be named for this guy, not Abraham even, but Jacob, who is renamed Israel. And Yahuwah said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Esau shall serve Jacob. Now Abe was merely expressing the heart and will of Yahuwah here not just his own preference, though he loved Jacob indeed. You can see from his words and expressions, dying with Jacob in his arms. Wow. Understand that, though. He knew it, and he knew what was right. And this was righteous. This whole encounter was righteous, not deceptive. He knew Esau would become an evil man. Isaac didn't yet, but he will be protected. Remember, we covered, and this really tells it all, Esau in both Genesis and Jubilees despised his birthright. Really his family, his lineage, and their God. That's the story here. Get that. If this family relied on him to continue the righteous lineage, well, it was already done, because it would have become evil very quickly, even in his era. Turn forward to Jubilees 26, and we're going to end here. Verses 5 through 12. Rebekah then carries out Abraham's wishes, but remember, she is carrying out the prophecy of Yahuwah from the birth of these twins, that Esau the oldest would serve Jacob the younger. See, that is what this is about. Jacob is to get the birthright according to Yahuwah. Doesn't that matter? Who did the deceiving here? Well, certainly he is involved. Jacob is involved. He plays along. But the actual deception, if you want to call it that, which is a holy deception, ordered by Yahuwah himself, really, as well as Abraham, understand that. Check this out. And Rebekah called Jacob her son, and said unto him, Behold, I heard Isaac thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, Hunt for me, and make me savory meat, and bring it to me, that I may eat and bless thee before Yahuwah, before I die. So indeed, Isaac was going to pass the blessing, the birthright, to Esau. Now, notice, Esau should have spoken up then and told him and admitted that he gave that birthright to Jacob. So Esau's a liar. That's what's happening here in the dynamic at play. Understand, the true deceiver here is Esau. He's the one deceiving Isaac. This was a mistake and against the will of Yahuwah. Understand that. There is no feeling sorry for Esau. He was evil, and this was known since his birth. And now, my son, obey my voice in that which I command thee. Go to thy flock and fetch me 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father. The same as Genesis. So Rebekah planned this whole thing, though, not Jacob. Have you heard otherwise from the pulpit? It is framed that Jacob is the deceiver, the thief, right? Well, that's ridiculous and untrue. Such as he loveth, and thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat and bless thee before Yahuwah, before he die, and that thou mayest be blessed. So the birthright is going to pass to Jacob, says Rebekah, because, says Abraham, says Yahuwah. Understand that. This was not an arbitrary theft, and it wasn't theft. This is the way it's supposed to be. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Mother, I shall not withhold anything which my father would eat, and which would please him. Only I fear, my mother, that he will recognize my voice and wish to touch me. See, Jacob was holy, but he too is well aware Abraham blessed him, not Esau, and he knew what Rebekah was told from their birth by Yahuwah. He knew this. And thou knowest that I am smooth, and Esau my brother is hairy, and I shall appear before his eyes as an evildoer, which of course Jacob didn't want. Again, Jacob did not want to be unholy to his dad, and shall do a deed which he had not commanded me. And he will be wroth with me, and I shall bring upon myself a curse and not a blessing. See, also Jacob, even though already blessed by Abraham at this point, many don't know that even. And really Yahuwah prophetically, and that's right there in Genesis even, so the rabbis should know that, and so should the church. Still respected his father though. For this birthright was Isaac's to pass, even if he screwed it up and gave it to the wrong person, which he was about to do. And Rebekah his mother said unto him, Upon me be thy curse, my son, only obey my voice. Now who's in charge here? Well, Rebekah is. She's the mother. This is not Jacob's deception. If it's a deception, it is hers. Understand that. Many put this on Jacob, and that's not the case here at all. But again, what is she driven by? She's driven by the will of Yahuwah and that of Abraham both. They knew better. She's protecting the family. She is protecting Isaac even and his lineage. Verse 10. And Jacob obeyed the voice of Rebekah his mother, and went and fetched 2 good and fat kids, goats of the goats, and brought them to his mother. And his mother made them savory meat, such as he loved. Now why did Jacob, being holy, obey? Well, because he knew again what Yahuwah wanted, what the will of Yahuwah was, and that matters most. And what Abraham wanted, and Rebekah, was a vessel, not an agitator. What she was doing here was good, it was righteous, and it was holy. It was the right thing to do. And Rebekah took the goodly raiment of Esau, her elder son, which was with her in the house, and she clothed Jacob, her younger son, with them. And she put the skins of the kids, the goats, upon his hands and on the exposed part of his neck, so he would be hairy like Esau. And she gave the meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. Again, Rebekah set all of this up, and she was being used by Yahuwah. This is a holy event. Now we'll leave the rest of the story for you to read, because this video is about, was Jacob a thief? Was he the deceiver, right? No, not even remotely. Basically, we hear this from the pulpit, but no, he was not the deceiver. Even his name was changed to Israel. In fact, he straight up said to Esau, I will give you the soup. I will sell it to you. You give me your birthright as a result. You're purchasing this soup with your birthright. Esau agreed to that, and that is binding legally. It's Esau that was the liar and the deceiver, because he would not tell Isaac what happened and what he committed to, and that he gave his birthright away, sold it. Now Abraham chose Jacob over Esau because Yahuwah chose Jacob over Esau, and Rebekah carried out his will, both Yahuwah's and Abraham's. She created this deception, and it was not evil. This was what Yahuwah willed all along. If Esau received this birthright, he would have tainted the house of Abraham, as he was evil, and it never would have survived as it has. And it still survives today. Yes, it will reunite in the very end. Now, there is much more regarding Esau and Jubilees that we'll cover over the next couple of videos. One, why is it that Jacob and Esau reconciled after their father's death? And they did. In both Jubilees and Genesis, that account is there. Yet their peoples would be at war, even all throughout history and even in prophecy, to the very end times. It doesn't make sense. Genesis does not explain this. That answer is not there. And if we relied on only Genesis for that, well, we would never know what happened. We'll cover that. Jubilees has that answer. Now we'll also get to how Esau died, and you will see too how Jacob was stronger, just as the prophecy from the birth said. We hope all have learned from yet another Answers in Jubilees. Torah said straight once again back to its original intent. We have over 365 videos on this channel, one for every day of the year now. Many just as profound, with some 50 or so in the Tagalog language and narration for Filipinos, and now 6 in Spanish to start. We also have, I think, 20 or more subtitled languages on most of our videos at this point, so you can listen to the video and read it your language, if it's one of those. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell for notifications of new uploads. Join our email list as YouTube fails to notify often, and we will notify you ourselves at thegodculture.com. Just fill in the pop-up with your email address. A valid one, please. We now have alternative platforms for videos on Rumble and Utreon. And our new podcast is also available for all of our videos as well. All links in the description box. Friend us on Facebook at The God Culture, space original. That is our only Facebook page. If you prefer an alternative, we now have Parler, link below. We now have 5 books published internationally, being read in over 100 countries, with our new release now available, Rest, the 400-plus page case for Sabbath. We also have now launched Ophir Philippines coffee table book in the U.S., Canada, UK, and many overseas markets on Amazon, and it is available in hardcover or softcover there. Additionally, we launched the Book of Jubilees, the Torah calendar, with color maps and interior overseas as well on Amazon. We already have it in color in the Philippines, but it's available there now. Also on Amazon, available in hardcover or softcover if you wish. All books, including Solomon's Treasure, are now free in eBook. Just go to ophirinstitute.com for all the links for your area, for each of the books. More coming soon. Thank you for watching. Now, always remember, prove all things for yourself. Yah bless to everyone. The Book of Jubilees, the Torah calendar, named by the temple priests in Qumran as the source of the exact determination of how to keep Torah's calendar in the Damascus document. Yes, they called it Torah and used it as such. This book renders the very first map of the world, the most ancient geography in all of history. Jubilees, also known as the Book of Division, as Noah partitions the entire earth to his 3 sons, finds the Garden of Eden in the Philippines, pinpoints the seat of Gog of Magog's power, demonstrates continental divides originate with Noah, and much more. It is the second witness to Genesis and Torah and concurs. It tests as Torah, and we encourage you to review this full test for yourself in the beginning of this book. It was the priests who were exiled from the temple who lived in Qumran, known in Bible times as Bethabara, where Messiah was baptized and John the Baptist of temple priestly caste lived and operated. As these were his fellow Levite priests exiled from the temple, who continued to keep Scripture there, as well as operate a functioning compound modeled in part after the temple. This is the only historic library of precedents for the Old Testament canon in ancient history, yet explained away in willing ignorance, just as 2 Peter 3 warned. Based on the R.H. Charles translation from the Ethiopic, this book will enlighten, and its revelation will rock your world. As all 50 chapters appear in this book with curated and edited margin notes, in large print Bible format, easy to read. This 288-page quality paperback has a high-resolution section of maps that represent the world's oldest map by Noah. Read it and test it for yourself, and you will likely find, as we have, this book is inspired, even canon, in history. Available free worldwide in eBook, or purchase a print copy today on Shopee Philippines or Amazon internationally. Just go to bookofjubilees.org, and the links are there for your area. We also offer bundle pricing with our other books in the Philippines. Our books are already expanding now, being read in 52 countries and more than half of the provinces in the Philippines. Join thousands who are finding this useful in their lives.